We are live. Welcome back. Episode 2, or part 2 of the SEC show. I'm one half of your host, Blake Ruffino. We have Bruno Joe DeLeon.
That's coming in early. That's coming in early. The Bruno,
You're right.
The Bruno comments.
You're right.
I'm still waking up here, Blake. Come on.
I know. I apologize. I can't help myself.
I see. The one thing I will say, Blake, at least you're Italian. I at least approve of it because you're Italian. If you weren't, I might be pushing back a little bit more, which I tend to get from some of my friends. But I can understand because you know how it is. Italians, we have weird. A lot of us have weird middle names.
Oh, dude.
One of the comments.
My grandfather's first name was Nunzio.
Nunzio. That's a great Italian name.
Yeah. I have my grandmother was Josephine. I have 45,000 other aunts that are also named Josephine and Louis. So Bruno is a welcome pleasure, but nevertheless, we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this thing started. Huge episode here this morning. Joe, 2 massive games, man. 2 massive games. Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. Going to come down here to Baton Rouge. We'll talk on them again. See if anything's changed. And got some great guests, too. We got Jenna Drinks at 9:45. Bleav in Georgia. Dawgs host Corey Burton. We're waiting to see if DJ Fluker's going to stop by.
We hope he's coming.
Waiting for him to officially confirm. So we'll see. And then at 10:15, we'll round it up with Mandy Knight with Texas A&M. As they might not even have a quarterback today. I don't know if you saw, but there's a flu outbreak in Aggie land.
It actually good timing. Texas A&M doesn't really have they're obviously not that fun to talk about right now, except for the drama. In terms of how they look on the field, they stink. But it actually inadvertently ended up being good timing to have Mandy on, and I'm hoping she can actually provide some context for this and get a little bit more information, because that's nuts that the whole team is coming out with a flu outbreak. Or I wonder if is it flu, or is it a COVID outbreak that's going on with the team that they don't want to admit that it is a COVID outbreak. But that's pretty nuts. That's bonkers.
Well, at this point, I wonder if you do want to have a COVID outbreak, because flu has been the one that's been more rampant, not COVID.
Yes.
So, I mean, look, we took Jewel, when we do the show Wednesday.
Yes.
We took our newborn baby Jewel to the pediatrician's office for RSV, flu, because, man, I mean, it's getting crazy around here. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, and I picked him to beat Florida too, but now I can't do it. I mean, because, Joe, there's 7 other players, 7 other stars they said's out. So, when it rains, it pours for Jimbo, dude. I mean, it is horrible for Jimbo.
It couldn't possibly be any more downhill at this point. And I mean, to his side almost, it actually is just another built-in excuse that he can use, which I guess is good for him. But that sucks. I wonder how many guys are actually out and actually don't play in this game. All I saw was the update that there's an outbreak going on right now. But let's be real, Blake. That's just a little side piece. We're waiting for the big games that are coming on this afternoon. The morning games, the early games, or the afternoon games for you guys are great. But the main ones that we're focusing on are the Alabama LSU game and the Tennessee Georgia one I'm excited for.
We got Jeremy Hodgson in 499 via Super Chat says, "Let's get a go Tigers." That's what I'm talking about. Go Tigers. Chance Babin says, "Love the Hurley commitment." Yeah, look, who said BK couldn't recruit? Who said Brian Kelly couldn't recruit?
Well, I think a couple people specifically said so, yes, and I'm not going to address those people.
Well, every time somebody in the Notre Dame media says something, he goes on an absolute run. Every time.
Well, so you should be rooting for that. You should be rooting for the Notre Dame media folks.
I'm calling them out every time on Twitter so I can get more success at LSU.
I'm just glad I'm not a part of that Notre Dame media anymore, even though I was only for a couple of months. because I think you would be running a train on me right now. You'd be having a field day.
Yeah, we would be running somebody would be running a train, but I'm not. I don't run trains. I mean, I'm not Thomas the tank engine over here. So we will get to that. Obviously, I got to say this. Rocky Top, you'll always be. You want to finish this off for me?
I don't know
Home sweet home for me. See, that's how you know you're not from the South. If you can't sing Rocky Top,
you're saying every single person from the South knows the Tennessee fight song.
Damn right. Good old Rocky Top.
I know the Notre Dame fight song. I know that back and front. I don't even know the URI fight song.
Let's go. Clap our cheeks because we don't gonna win. Under Freeman, is it something like that?
I'm sure it is something along those lines. They had to change it to that this season.
Yeah. Well, look, they got a massive game today against Clemson. We might talk to about that one at the very end. So let's do this. Let's get to our first break. About 9:30. Joe, let's do our intro here. What do you want to start off with? Because look, we talked Wednesday. We talked a lot of Georgia. We talked a lot of Tennessee, and we talked a lot of LSU, Bama. I do want to ask you this. We can start with that. We can start with that first game in Georgia and Tennessee. Anything else change your mind? Anything else happen that maybe sway what you're thinking about this game?
I still stand where I stood on Wednesday. And again, I know that the Nolan Smith thing is so critical. But again, if there's one roster in the entire country that is deep front to back, that has the athletes, the reserves, the 5-star reserves is the main emphasis there, it's going to be Georgia. And I know that Nolan Smith is supremely talented. I was really high on him. And when I did my preseason evaluations for draft prospects, they're going to be able to slow down Tennessee. If this was at Tennessee, if this was in Neyland, I think it might be a different discussion. And this might be a lot different of a debate because we saw that home field advantage played out very successfully for Alabama, or sorry, for Tennessee when they played Alabama. But we're at Georgia right here. This is going to be a really hostile environment for them to play in. If they can do exactly what I said, slow the game down, get a couple of sacks, get one turnover, you can effectively win this game. They don't need to blow them out. And I don't think that they're going to cover that line that's been released, which is extremely unrealistic. But they've got the roster to do exactly what I've been talking about the whole week, which is just slow the game down, grind it out, and hopefully they can get this W.
I agree with you to some extent. I just don't think Georgia can slow them down, Joe. Like, I don't, I just don't see it. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe I'm just I'm a naive dude. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I love offense way too much. But look, this isn't the Georgia defense of last season. Like, they've been vulnerable. Like, this Georgia team has been vulnerable. Okay. Like, they have not really and truly been challenged. Okay. Like Tennessee's been challenged. Tennessee, quite honestly, I feel like when adversity hits, because adversity is going to hit on for both of these teams. Okay. When adversity hits, has this young Georgia team gone through enough to where they can overcome? And here's my thing. When you have a big matchup like this, and I left this out Wednesday because I wanted to talk about it today, I always look at quarterback play. And look, when I say this kills me for my LSU argument, right? Like, because I'm an LSU guy. We cover LSU. In big matchups like this, who's got the better quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't believe in my heart of hearts that if this game came down to a shootout, that Sequavius Bennett IV, who only tips $10 when he, I don't know if you saw this, but
no,
he only tipped $10 in a $200 bill this week, and like everybody was like freaking out. Only $10.
Well, to be fair, I don't think anyone's lining up to give him NIL deals, so maybe his pockets aren't exactly lined like Hendon Hooker is, who just got himself a nice new Mercedes.
Yeah,
I'm not defending him. I'm just giving a stupid
but
excuse.
apparently Staquavius was mad that he had to actually pay for a meal in Athens, which I don't
Oh.
necessarily disagree with him, but
No, but
nevertheless.
like he's the last guy who should be upset about having to pay for food. He's not Hendon Hooker. Like Hendon Hooker's going to win the damn Heisman. Stetson Bennett
He did win him a natty. He did win him a natty.
He did, but he's lucky to be the starting quarterback this season. Like they could have easily replaced him and told him to leave.
Are you mad because his name's Staquavius now? Is that what you're mad about?
No, I'm not mad about it. I just look, I've been on a very weird path with Stetson Bennett because at the beginning of the season I said he sucked, and then now I've actually turned the tide. I've thought that he's done fantastic. He's got a little bit of that Ian Book in him where he's not really like physically dominant in any way, facet at all, but
he's more athletic than Ian Book, in my opinion. He's definitely faster than Book. Yeah.
I agree. He's deceptively quick. He has shown an actual strong awareness to pressure and evaluating pressure. I agree that if this comes down to a shootout, it's over. And
agreed. That's
if if they need a 2-minute drill, they're screwed.
But here's the crazy thing, Joe. You brought this up Wednesday.
Yeah.
They're throwing the ball 37 times a game, though, Georgia.
But they're doing it. I'm curious what their yards per attempt is. It's probably
I think it's 7 yards per attempt.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Excuse me. So it's not good. It's like it's middle of the pack. But that's not really Staquavius Bennett. I'm going to keep calling him Staquavius. It's not Stetson's fault, though. Like it's the system of what he's around. But here's the thing, though. He's throwing it to tight ends left and right. Like Washington, Bowers. Tennessee doesn't have anybody that can cover them either now.
No. Well,
nobody has anybody to cover them.
No. I was like trying to think. I'm like, who the hell do they even have on defense? And that's where I'm a little bit wary about putting my chips in on Tennessee. And again, I need to reiterate here. It's not like we're saying that one team's going to blow out the other, but they really have shown weakness defensively. And I talked about it last week, how Tennessee's secondary is statistically one of the worst in the country. And that's not just because of that Alabama game. They have had multiple bad weeks where they've let up a lot of passing production. Looked really good against Kentucky, but this is an even more unique situation because they don't have any safeties or linebackers that can cover Brock Bowers. There's no one in the receiving group for Georgia that scares me, and I'm sure you agree with me on that. But who the hell is going to cover Brock Bowers? This could be like what Dalton Kincaid did against USC, where he goes like 17 for 200 yards. He could have that type of a game because not only are they weak, but they're also weak at a position that is going to be crucial for trying to slow down their best offensive player.
I will say this. Last week, they made Will Levis look like he played JV. Like but let me just say this, and why I give Will Levis a massive pass. Their offense is what I look for the 3 Ds on offense. You ready? Domination up front, downfield throws. But I would get to the rest of them. But here's what Kentucky's is: Dookie water. They are they're dude. For me, a guy that played offense for a long time. Okay, when you have 2-man concepts on 3rd and 17, Will Levis doesn't have let me say he doesn't have a choice but to throw it up and pray.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to give Tennessee a lot of credit, but they did look a little bit better. But to your point, they don't have anybody that can cover Brock Bowers, but nobody in the country, I think, has someone that can lock Brock Bowers down. You know what Alabama did to slow Brock Bowers down in that first matchup was to run a little bit more cover too. But the problem with that is if Stetson Bennett does get going and throwing the ball down the field, then you're screwed.
Yes.
Then the middle of the field starts opening up, so then you're really screwed. Here's something that we talked about, very small, but is a key to victory for me if I'm Tennessee. See, here's the problem that when I watch film, what I see about Tennessee. And again, we talked about it just a little on Wednesday. I think Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever we did the show.
It was Wednesday, yeah.
Tennessee's running attack, their rushing attack. And we talk about this on AYS all the time. Either you're elite, You're great, you're good, you're average, below average stink. Okay. Brother, they're touching that elite status up front. Okay, as a unit. Because the way that they move dudes off the football is becoming elite. I'm not saying they're about to ramsack Georgia on the ground, but if I'm Kirby Smart, I would go to church. I would go and see the Pope and say in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, amen, and pray to God they don't play good today because they are running dudes over. That is going to be a big key in this game. If Tennessee gets over 125, 130 rushing yards, it's over. It's over because they're not going to have a choice.
Right. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there.
Okay.
I totally agree. And the interesting thing about this Tennessee rushing attack is it's not one guy. Jalen Wright and Jabari Small have been great this season, and Hendon's involvement in the run game has also been extremely disruptive. The fact that you've got multiple heads at different positions that are able to get the run game going is extremely dangerous. I just don't know if we can sit here and say that this is the defensive line that's the same caliber that they've faced.
They're not.
This isn't a group that's going to get run over. Jalen Carter is the guy who does the running over. And if someone's going to cause disruption up the middle at the point of attack, that's going to make it a very difficult task to get that production that you're talking about. I agree, though. You get into a rhythm, you start running the ball against Georgia of all teams, the game is yours. You won the football game because not many people are capable of doing it. But at the same time, like, you're going to have to run the ball away from Jalen Carter. Like, you're going to have to make that emphasis to run away from him because I don't see anyone on that Tennessee offensive line. Again, talking about matchups here, who the hell is going to block Jalen Carter? I don't have faith in anyone.
I think the Mays kid, if they could find a way to get him out in space or get him on him, look, look, I'll say this. I got a lot of pushback this week. Now, I talked to a lot of people who vote for, so I'm going to be careful on how I say this, but a lot of people that vote for the Outland Trophy send me film every week on what I see. The
You
Mays
should be voting on that.
Huh?
You should be voting on that. Why are you
I
not?
should be voting on that. They've asked. We'll see.
Okay.
The Mays kid from Tennessee, the center, he's not the best prospect at center or interior line in the country. I think that Cedric Van Pran, when it comes to center, like a prospect, he's the best center in all of college football. I promise you that. He took it to Will Anderson. There's not a better defensive player in the country, in my opinion, than Will Anderson. He took it to him. They found ways to get Mays on him. We'll see. I get it's a completely different beast and a completely different animal. But what they do up front is so unique. Like the scissors blocks that they do, when they get the interior guys to go out, the outside guys to go in, it causes confusion for a defensive line who doesn't see these. And look, it's so old school. The scissors block up front is so old school. This is like elementary type of stuff, and nobody can stop it. And so that's my key to victory. One last thing on this game, I want to get to LSU, and because we got a guest at 9:30, Coach Corey Burton. If Tennessee wins this game, Hendon Hooker is going to win the Heisman. You agree?
Oh, absolutely. This is just another notch in the belt. And if this might be one of the most impressive just resumes in general for the teams that he's beaten and the quality of teams that he's beaten, there's nobody else in the country right now that has the stats and then backed up by the victories. Like, we've got some fun storylines. Like, Blake Corum's been fun and he's been running all over teams and his stats look really good. Max Duggan is fun to talk about because of the unlikely story that and the path that he has created. But if we're just talking about a pure dominance standpoint, stepping up and playing in these big games where they need him to lead his team to victory, he's the reason why Tennessee's playing as good as they are. It's not anyone on defense. And as great as Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt have been, the success is created by the guy who's throwing the football. It's Hendon Hooker. I think that he's the Heisman Trophy winner now, and I don't know how CJ Stroud has been pushed ahead of him because he's yet to really get that signature win, and he looked a little spotty at times against Penn State. Talking about a truly dominant player, Hendon Hooker's the guy.
I agree with you, Joe. He looked very spotty against, and look, so I think I sent you this because we talk back and forth during Saturdays. When Marvin Harrison Jr. went out against Penn State, he went 1 of 7. 1 of 7.
Yeah.
When Marvin Harrison, dude, he kept throwing it in his general direction. Look, they're not good. Everybody keeps saying, oh, well, they're going to be a good offense. Says whom? They better pray to sweet God above that Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back soon. Now, I don't know his status. I don't know if he's coming back soon or not. Number one, let me say this, dude. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver in the country. It's not close. But regardless, he's the best wide receiver in the country. He's the best wide receiver in the country.
I don't know if I would just hand that to him.
He's the best wide receiver in the.
Wait, you're gonna hand that to him over like Quentin Johnston or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he's bigger, stronger, faster. He's got better hands.
I don't disagree.
More.
I don't disagree with it, but I'm not sure if I would just hand it to him without considering some other name.
He's Justin Jefferson. He's Justin Jefferson. I'm telling you.
You would even give it to him over Kayshawn?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right now, hell yeah. Kayshawn can't catch the food butt naked in a snowstorm in Arkansas. I mean, let me say this: he can. Kayshawn's got to be more consistent. Marvin Harrison Jr. is consistent. Okay, so yes, I think he's the best wide receiver in the country right now. My thing is this though about Ohio State and C.J. Stroud. I don't buy C.J. Stroud. I think he's flawed.
Absolutely.
So everybody ripped on me in the comments. Flawed, Flawed, because I say that weird. That's just me. All right. You know, I did not talk to the LSU Bama game because I talked about it a lot on Wednesday. Go ahead and rip my listeners' souls alive. Go ahead and rip their hearts out. Now, let me say this, Joe.
Yeah.
Outside right now, it is pouring. It is absolutely storming right now. So take that into consideration when you make this pick. And remember that us Italians stick together. And Alabama has no Italians.
I would argue that's a really weird corner you're trying to back me into. I would argue the rain might actually benefit Alabama even more because they have a really good rushing attack.
That'll be it, folks. That'll be it.
They have one of the come on. They have some of the best running backs in the country, led by Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jahmyr has been fantastic.
Held him to 50 rushing yards or 34 rushing yards.
Mississippi State did.
Yeah,
I still think that they're dangerous. I mean, look, here's where to backtrack a little bit. I still stand by my original take. If anyone missed that, I'm sorry that you also have to hear it a second time. LSU so far this season, and Brian Kelly notoriously has been a coach who their teams have been slow to get going. And if Alabama can get on the board quick on the first quarter, get a couple of scores, I am unwilling to assume that LSU can play catch up. I think that it is a very difficult task to play catch up against this Alabama offense. And Jahmyr, Bryce Young, they have been in a rhythm as of late, and they have looked very, very explosive and dangerous. Not saying that this is going to be like a 40-point blowout. That's not what I'm saying. But I think by 2 scores, it's very likely. The one thing that makes me reluctant, Blake, is that this is in Baton Rouge. Like that is a huge advantage. And we saw what that advantage did against Ole Miss. But this is a very different team than that Ole Miss team. They've got a lot more guys front to back, offense and defense. But yeah, no, I'm unwilling to commit to LSU. I've been hurt too many times by Brian Kelly in games like this and anticipating that they're going to show up and come flying out the gate, and then they're a little slow to get going, and that takes them out of it.
Why do you hate me so?
I'm just being realistic. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not going to sit here and do this
for once. All right, look, here's my thing about their running game and why I think the rain benefits LSU, and I'm being serious with this. Is I'm more willing to watch see, my thing is I don't want Bryce Young to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I think that's how LSU loses. He gets rolling, he gets throwing it all over the yard. LSU secondary has been suspect at times. You know what hasn't been suspect? Harold Perkins. Their linebackers, their front seven has not been suspect. They held Alabama to 6 rushing yards a season ago with a better offensive line. A lot of those dudes are returning. My point would be this. Jahmyr Gibbs the best running back that I've seen this year that LSU will play. but I don't know if it's the best rushing attack holistically. If you look at it, I still would give the rushing attack a lot of it to Ole Miss. Judkins is a really good running back. Now, is he Jahmyr Gibbs? No. Okay. But he's closer to him than he is an average player. LSU can do well. They held Ole Miss to under 100 rushing yards until the last play of the game when Judkins broke off a 21-yard run. I don't think so. I'm going to say this. I gave my prediction. I gave the hot take on Bleav this week. I say 31-28 LSU. I'm never going to pick a Bama. I'm just not going to do it. I will
and
never.
As you shouldn't.
Well, look, I will slap Saban in the face for leaving me. But the bottom line is this. Okay, I'm not going to pick them, but it doesn't mean I think LSU's going to win. Okay, like I'm being realistic, but everybody, I think if LSU has a chance, Jaden Daniels has got to go off. Like, and Joe,
absolutely.
I'm talking about like they win, he's in Heisman Trophy contention. Okay, that's what has to happen here. There's no other way. I don't. As they say, what's that show that Star Wars people watch? This is the way.
Oh, the Mandalorian.
There you go.
Well, first of all, I hate to say this, but or not hate to say this. I don't think there's any world that Jaden Daniels is going to be in the Heisman conversation. Just to be fair, but I know what you mean.
Well,
you're saying
my thing would be though, he would be tied with Bryce Young on every stat. How are you going to put Bryce Young ahead of him?
Well, Bryce shouldn't be in the. If they lose this game, Bryce should be immediately taken out of the conversation. Maybe Jaden is somewhere. If they win out, maybe somewhere at the very back end, like the sixth guy in the voting, because
that's still a conversation though, right? Like he's
right.
still on the ballot. Is what I mean.
Yes.
He's not going to New York. I don't mean that at all.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I still though totally agree with you. If you get a Hendon type performance, which he's capable of doing, and we all know, and the one thing that's been talked about, I think, front to back by everybody who has previewed this game is that Alabama, notoriously, especially over the past couple of years, has had a lot of trouble with athletic quarterbacks, with very good field awareness and ability to extend and stretch plays. Jaden fits that description perfectly, and I've come on the show and I've talked very highly of how Jaden Daniels is the perfect Brian Kelly quarterback. The fact that he fell in Yell's lap and he left Arizona State was the reason why I think a lot of your guys' success, the games that you've won that have been unexpected thus far, have been because of what Jaden Daniels has been able to do. But they got to get going quick. Like they got to score on the first drive. Like that, plain and simple. You don't score in the first drive, it's already going to be an uphill battle. Jay needs to be ready to rock from the get-go. If you get that momentum and that energy, game is yours.
Last thing, then we're getting to Coach Burton, and we'll take a break and get to Coach Burton. I'm going to say this. LSU had a quarterback that went through a whole season at 46% completion percentage. LSU lost by 3, okay, a couple of seasons ago. My point is this. This game, a lot of times, and I mean this holistically, you got to throw logic out the front door because it makes no sense. It's just that it's – Joe, realistically, they combined, they might have 15 dudes to 20 dudes drafted like next season. Like LSU had 10, Bama had 12, I think, or 9 last year. Like 19 dudes between the two teams got drafted a season ago. So sometimes you got to throw logic at the front door. And here's the thing: nobody's talking about both coaches coming off a bye week. Okay. Let's go get to Coach Burton, but first we got to get to our first break. Let's talk about our good friends over at BetOnline. That's betonline.ag. Use your mobile device to sign up today. Use the promo code Bleav50. It's Bleav50, and you'll get 50% off your first welcome bonus on your first deposit. Okay, let's talk about them. Our good friends over at GM Varnado and Sons, Coach Burton, Georgia. He's gonna hate me, but he's such a great guy. I don't want him to hate me. Rocky Top, you'll always be.
You know the Georgia
BetOnline is the.
My bad. I was going to the break. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, do you know the Georgia fight song? You got if you're gonna sing the Tennessee one, you gotta sing. I don't think that's the fight song.
Let's get to Coach Burton next. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good.
Next.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first to market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code Bleav50, that's Bleav50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Coach Burton, don't hate me. Okay, I'm sorry.
I heard you singing Rocky Top. That's disappointing.
Hey, Georgia Bulldogs. See, I can sing both, but man, I just can't. I can't today. I just don't think. I don't know, but that's what we got you here for.
That's right.
Down for us, Coach. How are we doing this morning?
We're doing great, man. I'm ready. It's a rainy day here in Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm ready for this game, man. I got my national champions T-shirt to remind everybody that we are the defending national champions. So,
okay,
ready to go, man. Ready to go.
Wait, if you're in Tennessee, how insufferable is the environment there with the people you're interacting with this week?
Well, let's just say I've heard Rocky Top way more than I've wanted to.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Let's just say that we might as well not even play the game because, Tennessee's number one and they're just steamrolling. So might as well just forfeit this thing and let's move on.
Yeah, the game's always played on paper, Coach. You know, you know that.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this: how big is Let's get this out the way. I've said all week Nolan Smith's absence is bigger than some people believe, even from a leadership standpoint. People have called me crazy. Am I crazy? Is Nolan Smith not being there going to be a big deal for Georgia today?
It's got to be. I mean, he's our best pass rusher. So a team that struggled to get to the passer, you lose a piece like that, it's got to hurt at some point. But Michael Williams has got to step in, next man up. He's gotten plenty of minutes, so we'll see how that's paid off for him.
So outside of him, we've been talking about on the show how deep that Georgia defense is. Like all of the talented players that are on that unit.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have Nolan Smith, can you just familiarize our listeners with like some of the other guys that Tennessee fans should actually maybe be a little worried about? I feel like it's just a foregone conclusion with no Nolan Smith. Everyone this week has been talking about it's going to be a much easier time for Hendon Hooker. But who are some of the other guys on that defensive line, maybe outside of the big name that's always brought up that's Jalen Carter? Who are some of these other defensive players?
Well, I mean, the aforementioned Michael Williams, he's got to be the one that's got to step into that Nolan Smith role. You've got Nazir Stackhouse, Zion Logue, obviously Jalen Carter. Those are the main guys that are going to be getting after Hendon Hooker from the inside. You've got Jermaine Dumas-Johnson, the inside backer. He's playing the Nakobe Dean role. Smell Munden is another one. Bradley Beal, he's one that's going to be getting some time there up front. So they're just going to have to get creative with scheme because they have only one superstar, which is Jalen Carter, who's going to push the pocket from the inside. They're going to have to figure out ways to get those guys to Hendon Hooker and disrupt the rhythm of Tennessee's passing game. Otherwise, he's just going to sit back there and pick us apart.
Coach, I said that the key to victory for me necessarily isn't through the passing game with Tennessee or anything to that When I pop in the film, Tennessee predicates a lot of their passing concept off of how they run the football, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they're unable to run the football on the outside, they start throwing those quick screens on the outside the numbers, which is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
Then when your safeties come up, then they start hitting you down the seam. We saw them do it to Alabama. I'm not saying that Georgia should be worried about the running game, but, man, they have been the best running attack, in my opinion, in the SEC so far this season, meaning Tennessee. Does that, when you watch them, does that worry you any? Like, what do you see from Tennessee out of the running game?
Georgia's pretty good against the run. So, I mean, they do a good job of creating running lanes and things like that by stretching out the box. You know, their formations pull people out of the box, and they run against short boxes most of the time. So, they're able to get some success. But Georgia has been really good against the run so far this year. That's probably been the least of my worries defensively. Tackles for loss, pressures on sacks on the quarterback, giving up plays downfield are probably the biggest issues that we've had collectively as a defense. But, you know, stopping the run shouldn't be a huge issue for Georgia, especially if the DBs are able to tackle in space. They can dedicate more guys into the run game and have those guys out there on an island doing their thing. So not really all that worried at all.
The one
I
thing
just
we
realized that Joe DeLeon had a Campbell shirt on. We're gonna have to talk about this in a minute.
Campbell
Yeah,
University.
Campbell University.
Tell me I don't know the South.
Joseph, hold on very quickly, Coach. Joseph, have you ever eaten boiled crawfish?
And I have not.
Okay. Go ahead with your question. Don't say you know the South if you ain't ever ate no boiled crawfish.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm a hack. I'm a carpetbagger. I'm not really from
Coach,
from
have you eaten boiled crawfish? I know that you've eaten boiled crawfish.
Yeah, absolutely. I've eaten boiled crawfish, etouffee, gumbo, jambalaya.
In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, that is the Holy Trinity. Thank you so much for answering that question.
I've had all the Cajun cuisine. I love Cajun food.
You damn right. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I'd fit in well in Louisiana.
I agree with that. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I can't say that I could. Coach, I was going to ask you this, that we talked a lot about how Brock Bowers might be uncoverable in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say in a strange universe, they figure out how to take him out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any faith in the Georgia receivers to still pop off? And, like, who are the guys that you think could have nice games in this one if Brock just is somehow, which I don't think is likely, neutralized in this game?
Well, you got to look at the other tight ends first. Darnell Washington, he looks like an NBA player, 6'8", 270, looks like a power forward. He can actually go up and get the ball. He hurdles people. He can move. He's an athlete. So he's going to be an issue if you cover Brock Bowers. Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint is a guy that's kind of emerged as that intermediate threat. We don't, without A.D. Mitchell, and I think I'm not sure if he's playing today or not. I think he's coming down. I think it's going to come down to a game time decision with A.D. Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell's it is massive. He's the downfield guy.
Right.
But Rosemy-Jacksaint is trying to emerge in that role. Kyrus Jackson, Dominic Blaylock, Ladd McConkey are all going to have to contribute by just chewing up yards and extending drives as they go down the field. And that's how Georgia's going to control the game. You know, they're going to get Bowers. If they shut down Bowers, they're going to get McConkey or Rosemy-Jacksaint or Dominic Blaylock, moving the chains 10, 12 plays and hopefully putting it across the goal line instead of kicking field goals. So those are some names, and they're not like super dynamic, and they're not going to affect a game like Jalen Hyatt affects a game. But they are chain movers, which is vastly important in a game like this.
I got to be completely holistically honest, and Bleav's probably going to fire me after I say this.
Uh-oh.
Every time that Ladd McConkey catches a pass, I always say, look at Mahonky on the catch.
Mahonky.
Look at Mahonky on the catch. That little white boy got some wiggle with him. Coach, that's why I was going to ask you this. Look, Tennessee has had struggles, and I'm not saying that him and Staquavius, I keep calling him Staquavius because you're going to have a haircut like that. We're going to call you Staquavius. But I think Ladd McConkey is a big key to this game because Tennessee has had troubles covering guys in the slot all season long. Look, LSU did not have a lot of success because they shot them all themselves in the foot. They had a lot of success with guys in the slot. So did Alabama. Do you think Ladd McConkey is a guy that could be, like, at the end of the day, could he have 10 catches, 180 yards, and a touchdown? Could you see that from him? Can he do it?
Yeah, I've seen it before. Last
Okay.
year against Auburn, he kind of took over that game. I think he scored twice against Auburn last year. I mean, he has that capability. He's kind of struggled at times this year, which is disappointing. But he definitely has that capability. I mean, he is our version of Hunter Renfrow. It seems like he's always open. But yeah, I mean,
On 7-Eleven.
Yep, that's right. He's gonna have some favorable matchups. So he's got, as long as he goes out and does his job and goes out there and wins those matchups. There you go.
Yeah, they've struggled, Joe, a lot in the slot.
What's the deal with Eric Gilbert, by the way? I feel like that's like a question everyone asks every week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he can't get out of his own way apparently.
Coach, I'll take the backlash on this one if it happens.
Yeah,
there are some diagnosed issues.
Got to be.
Well, I mean, it was here in LSU. Like, he got diagnosed with some things. And I think that, let me say this about Kirby, okay? And I don't mean this in any way. Hats off to Kirby with not dealing with a situation, but like Saban with Jermaine Burton in a sense. Now, Jermaine Burton should be punched back in the face for hitting a woman, okay? Like, you ever hit a woman, you should be punched in the face. But sometimes, man, you have young men in situations that come from a very tough situation. And I don't think that kicking Eric Gilbert off the field would have ever been, or off the team, would have ever helped him whatsoever. But if that young man puts it together, people are in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if he ever completely gets it together, it's. I mean, you saw it in the spring game. I mean, he had a really good first semester at Georgia, played in the spring game, played masterfully at that.
At 300 pounds, correct?
Yeah, and then just fell off the face of the earth for a while, and then had a touchdown against Vanderbilt, which was exciting. But I don't understand. Like, he just can't get out of his own way. Obviously, he has some diagnosed things that he came in with, and is still probably dealing with. So just him being on the team and him just contributing in practice and things is probably a bigger deal than any of us realize.
But that's what his role. Like, he's not. I feel like I haven't been paying attention to Georgia over the past couple of weeks because they haven't played this is the biggest game that they've played so far recently. Yeah. So I just keep hearing ins and outs of what's up with Eric Gilbert. And as somebody who follows the draft, I'm obsessed with him as a player, but he's on the team, but he's not playing is the understanding here?
No, right. Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, he's on field goal protection and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
he's in there in special teams a little bit, but he's just not. That's good. He just hasn't been able. I mean, who's going to play much over Brock Bowers? Let's be honest about that. But
and Darnell Washington, Coach. I mean, let's be honest with him too.
But the concerning part is that Oscar Delp, who is a freshman, has leaped over him. That's the concern, because this offense can sustain 3 tight ends, and there has been 13 personnel packages out there several times this year. But the third guy has been Oscar Delp and not Eric Gilbert. So he's just not quite there yet, I guess. He's just not quite doing what it takes to get in that rotation.
Heck, if he figures it out, he can run a 4 tight end set. That's my one stupid comment of the
14 personnel. I'm still waiting on it.
I mean, you can't look. I mean, we saw who was it? We saw the Saints do that when a long time ago with Sean Payton. They would go 13, 14 personnel, 2 tight ends on the end line, and then 2 right behind them. It was insanity. Coach, last question for you. You guys score prediction?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Georgia 42 and Tennessee 38. It's gonna be a tight one.
Okay, if Stequavius can get to 42 points,
Stequavius has got to do what Stequavius did earlier in the season, which is be involved in the run game, and they will get to 42. I can guarantee you that.
So wait, before you hop off, because the one thing that we've talked about a lot is that we think that if Georgia wins, it's going to be because it's low scoring. But I'm just curious, how do you think this transpires where they're able to score that high of points?
Well, they're capable of it. I mean, they did it. They've done it several times. I mean, they can't get into a shootout the way Tennessee wants to get into a shootout, which is just fast. But if they control the tempo the way that Georgia controls the tempo, which is varying the speeds and keeping you off balance, they can easily put 42 points up.
I like that take. That's interesting.
It's two different styles of tempo is really what it's coming down to. And Hendon Hooker is a maestro at Tennessee's version. Stequavius is a maestro at Georgia's version. So it's going to be a battle of that. And if Georgia clicks in the first quarter, you could easily see a 42-point game because they're going to have to. They're going to get aggressive. They're going to get creative. They're going to take advantage of matchups with Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, and they're going to have some things in the run game that's going to be really good for them. And that's just how I see it. It's happened before. I mean, the Oregon game is probably the best example. Oregon's proving to have a pretty good defense, and Georgia just kind of had their way with them. So,
all right, Coach, we'll see. 2:30 live.
We'll see. 2:30 CBS. Yeah, we'll see, man. But you guys are killing it. You guys are doing a great job. I guess I'm the opening act for Jenna Duttleston here. Some bar talk. So I'm curious to know if she has a nice little Southern drink that she can make for us.
Warm apple cider with Jack Daniel's apple. What you think about that, Coach?
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
And it's got whipped cream in it, but I forgot the whipped cream.
Okay, yeah. It still sounds intriguing.
Yeah, my wife always says to me, like, she said the other day, she's like, why are you keep forgetting like an ingredient Jenna tells you to get, you idiot?
You forgot that on purpose. You didn't want to put the whipped cream.
Like, you idiot.
He felt some type of way about the whipped cream.
Yeah, because she wanted some. That's why. All right, Coach. We'll see you.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys are killing it, man.
Thanks, man. Coach. We'll talk to you soon. All right, that's Coach Burton, 36. You can follow him. Bleav in Dawgs podcast. Absolutely fantastic job that he does. All right. We talked about it. Warm apple cider. I got to be honest. This is going to be my second time ever having apple cider. I got to be honest. So
really?
Yeah.
Is it not a Southern thing? I feel like.
Yeah, it's a Southern thing. It just ain't Louisiana thing. Like, it's just not, I didn't even know where you could go get warm apple cider. I went to like an apple field.
I can tell you right now, I couldn't. Wait, you went to an apple field to get the cider?
It's a joke.
Okay. I actually was hoping that was true because that would have been. You probably would have gotten fantastic apple cider.
I've been fermenting apples for 45 days. We're about to find out if this is really worth it or not. I might poison myself. All right. Let's talk about our good friends over at Bet Online one more time, and we'll get to Jenna Dawson. 1 minute. Next.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code Bleav50, that's Bleav50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. I was the one that just had to sprint in here and get here just in the nick of time. See, I'd be making fun of Joe all the time.
Yeah.
I literally just slid across the whole studio here. Well, look, Ben's like, my son Ben, he was out there. He goes, have you told Joel good morning this morning? Are you, and I'm like, damn, dog. Like, can I
hold you accountable?
And he's like, oh, so you're getting ice in a cup? I'm like, Jesus. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting ice in a cup. We got to get the warm apple cider. He goes, apple cider. And he just sits there and stares at me. So that's why I'm late. But I apologize. Jenna.
What's up, guys?
How are you?
I'm fantastic. I really should explain to you guys, like, when I text you the ingredients, like where it is in the grocery store, you can find it, because you do not buy hot apple cider. You buy apple cider and then at home you warm it up.
Warm it up.
You
You
know
should have
that,
said that.
right?
You should have said that, but you also, I think
here's
it's
the
part of
thing
the
is-
adventure is not knowing where anything is and then getting lost in the grocery store.
I
That's
gotta
part
go.
of it.
Maybe that needs to be the segment. Maybe I need to you two need to film yourself going to the store and finding the ingredients, because that's the show in itself,
That will be very entertaining. It'll be a lot of cursing and a lot of frustration.
which is fine.
Have you ever? Let me just ask you a question, Jenna. If you worked at a grocery store, okay,
Okay.
and you saw a man 6'3", very lavishing, has a great beard, and he comes up to you and says, "Where is edible glitter?" What would you do? Okay.
Well,
I was terrified to ask, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. And she's like, is this like for your wife? It's exactly what she said. I'm like,
Stop.
no, yeah. She asked if it was for my wife. I said, no, it's for me. She goes, oh, okay. And then like she looked at me and walked away. So yes, it is an adventure. We should probably film this.
Yes.
well, that woman is a very judgmental
Very.
SOB, is what I would
Fucking
say.
Louisiana.
Yeah, my God.
They probably have a
Oh,
whole
God.
aisle for that in LA. So that's funny how judgmental they were.
Oh, dude. Anyway, Jenna,
Terrible.
I'm really excited about this one.
I
I'm
know.
really, really excited about this one. But I do want to ask you this first before we get to it.
Mhm.
You interviewed a Hall of Famer this week, correct?
I did.
How did
I
that
did.
go?
Let's put it this way. Like, we have really cool jobs, right? Like, these aren't like real problem jobs we have. And we all work hard. We all have a good time. And then you get to talk to a guy like Paul Canerico, and you're just like, oh my God. Like that, like, he is my childhood, like, hero. Like, I was 12 when the Sox won the World Series. I followed him the entire time he was here. He was the guy. It was a bucket list moment, like, thing in my career. And I just like can't believe it. Truth, like, still, even though it like happened, I still can't believe it, because I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. And he's so like smart, intelligent, and his baseball mind is fascinating. And I had 100 more questions I wanted to ask him, but obviously you always want to be respectful of someone's time. So I couldn't ask him everything I wanted to ask him. Because if I did, I probably would have been on the phone with him for 3 hours, because he's just so fascinating. But it was incredible, to say the least.
Yeah, Jermaine Dye was on that team too, right? Right fielder.
Jermaine Dye was our right fielder. He was the MVP of the World Series because
That's what
he
I
brought
thought.
in the game-winning run. Because that game against Houston was, I want to say it was like 1-0 or 2-1 was the final. I think it was 2-1.
I can't stand the Astros. They cheat. No one likes them. Anyway,
Yeah.
just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, I want Philly to win.
I do
I'm
too.
rooting for Philly. That was a rough game.
Well,
on
you know what? I
Thursday.
was rooting for Philly, Jenna, until this guy with a Campbell shirt comes up in this stream and says LSU's going to get clapped. Let's go, Stros.
Oh,
You don't mean that. You don't mean that.
Stop.
You're being
Don't be such a hater.
petty. You're being petty right now.
You can't root for an organization like Houston. The only reason I would condone is if you were rooting for Dusty Baker, but is it just because of the LSU thing? Is that what it is?
Yes,
Is that what,
yes,
Yeah.
you hurt my heart. You broke my heart.
I'm sorry,
There's
I'm realistic.
No Italians in Alabama, and you're gonna pick against people that don't have teeth. That's all I gotta say. Jen, we
All
do
right.
have a question for you, right quick. Cody McGee sends $4.99 via super chat. Says Blake, ask Jenna what's a good mix for Fireball, and can she make it on the show that one weekend?
I can definitely make it on the show one weekend. I will not lie. The last time I had Fireball was my 21st birthday. It involved my head in a toilet at the end of the evening after my 21st
Nice.
shot. So that was a fun night. But have you ever had a cinnamon toast crunch shot?
I have not.
Okay, so it's
Heard of
you do equal parts Fireball and rum chata, and it literally tastes like cinnamon toast crunch.
Oh, I've seen that on TikTok.
Yeah.
That one's been broadcast.
What's up, bud?
Say hey.
I gotta say, the most random thought I had this morning is
Yeah.
I always forget when Ben comes on and we're all like, "Hey, Ben, he can't hear us.
Yeah, he can't hear
Oh
you.
no, he can't. That's so weird.
Like it doesn't occur to me, and I'm like, hey Ben, how's it going?
Good. Ben, how do you like being a big brother now?
My sister,
What's her name?
Baby Jewel.
Baby Jewel.
Baby Jewel.
What's her name again?
Baby Jewel.
Baby Jewel. All right, listen. Go protect Baby Jewel. It's starting to rain bad outside, okay?
Yeah, you got to make sure that she doesn't get wet.
I can't hear you. All right,
It's okay.
go close the door.
Oh my
Love
God.
you.
I want to squeeze him. I want to
I'm
squeeze
gonna have
him.
legitimate competition for this co-hosting spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do. Wait till he gets 13. And you start talking trash about Brian Kelly again.
And he'll pick LSU every time. So maybe that's why you need me. You need a little bit of a contradicting opinion.
Our in-laws gave him a Florida Gator onesie 3 years ago.
Did you burn it?
Yeah,
You burned it. You absolutely burned it.
That's not happening in this house. All right, Jenna, I'm just derailing you here.
I know. It's
Let's
okay.
go ahead. Let's do this.
All right.
I want some apple cider in my life.
I know. Okay, guys. So today we are making Jack Daniel's hot apple cider. So Jack Daniel's has a new line out of some flavors, apple being one of them. And I thought, let's give it a whirl. Also, I'm going to take a pull of this, so don't mind me.
Hell
Yeah.
yes.
No, here's the thing is it doesn't, God, it's just so damn good. Anyways, let's get back to this. Okay, you're going to do 1.5 ounces of Jack Daniel's. Okay.
Did you say 3 ounces?
No, that is aggressive, Blake. We
Fill
are
it up
doing
to the
1.5
brim.
ounces.
Fill it up to the brim. Okay.
So if you're making this in whatever cup, it's going to be like about a finger, a little bit more. Obviously, you can do more, guys, but I always say like less is more in this sense. And this is one of those drinks that you don't taste the alcohol. So don't kill yourself in the process of doing this, okay?
No
As a bartender,
promises.
it is my duty to say that. Next, you're going to take some apple cider. All right, fill it up to the top. It's going to be around like about like a cup, I'd say. You want to leave a little bit of room at the
shit,
top.
that is hot.
Well, no shit, it's apple cider.
Oh, I
and
thought
it's
I was muted. I thought I was muted.
No. It's apple cider.
I was like, shit, this is hot.
Okay. Next, whipped cream. Any excuse I have to put whipped cream on any drink, any dessert I'm doing. So you can put a little dollop on top, or you don't have to. It's totally your call. All right. It's just so beautiful looking. And then because we always drink with our eyes first, big fan of this. This is in the grocery store in the coffee section. Buy the tea, guys. All right. Should have told you that. So take this and you're just going to drizzle it on top. All right. Just a little bit. Because to me, apples and caramel go together perfectly. All right.
All right.
And then, guys, that is your drink.
Cheers. Joe, you didn't do it.
Okay, I have good reasoning. Do your
You're not
cheers.
old, you're not old enough to drink. Is that it?
Then that's definitely it.
Cheers, Blake.
Cheers, everyone.
What is the reason why we drink this?
I bought everything and I woke up feeling like absolute shit. So
What'd you do last night?
Nothing. I'm sick. Josh
Oh.
showed up to the office like sick as all hell, and I'm like, oh great, this is
Ooh-wee.
gonna catch me, and it did. So I didn't want to have to drink and just make myself feel worse. I'm powering through as we speak.
But you do know
Double burn.
I know, but it's good though, right?
Mm.
I love apple cider. And
Is
again,
it not,
it's starting.
Is it not as
Go
good
ahead.
hot?
No,
I
it's
think-
hot. No, I mean, maybe. I mean, it's hot.
Like
I
hot,
mean,
like it burned the top of your mouth hot.
You little.
Okay, well then maybe let's let
Good,
it cool
though. It's
down.
Good.
Did you burn the apple cider?
I think I did burn it. God, but yeah, I can't stop drinking it though.
I know it's so good. You
Dude,
really don't
no,
taste
oh
the
my
alcohol.
God.
You really don't.
You kind of don't.
But Joe,
But
I'm
got
telling
that-
you, the
got that
secret.
apple burn there at the what do you call that? The
It's like
bourbon
they're-
burn. Like
it's
the bourbon.
it's a little bit
Yeah.
of the bourbon burn that you want in a drink from whiskey that you have. And Joe, the secret to getting better is whiskey. Don't you know this?
You
You're
sound like
Italian.
my Italian grandfather. His remedy for every time he got sick was a steak and a bottle of wine, and that's
Steak, bottle of wine, a bite into a garlic clove, and then a shot of whiskey.
yeah. That doesn't work for me because I try to rely on science, which tells me
Damn.
it extends the
Whoa.
recovery period. So
Science.
I don't want to be
Ooh.
sick on Monday.
How old?
I mean,
did
it's
your grand-
soft.
How old did you say your grandfather? Is he still alive? Did he pass?
No, he's still alive. Yeah, I think he's almost
Okay, and
90.
I'll say so. This is gonna win my argument. How old is he?
I want to say he's like close to 90. And you're absolutely right. I'm
Oh,
soft. My grandfather's a lot
oh.
tougher than I am.
Science.
Again, I'm soft.
They fought wars. They won wars.
Joe, we need to rub some dirt on you.
Yeah.
You need to get your calluses a little, you know, you need to roughen them up.
I'm regretting not bringing it to the office, and I should have. I felt worse
It
when I
actually
woke up
probably
than I
would have
do now.
made you, Joe. Honestly, it probably would have made you feel a little bit better. Might have opened you up a little bit. Seriously.
Have you ever heard the trick of what like people in the Hispanic culture do if they ever have really bad sinus problems?
Was it something with tequila?
No, they take a bite out of a jalapeno.
Oh yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense. But there's no
Yeah.
alcohol in that. But
I know,
yeah,
but
that
I'm
makes
saying
sense.
it's the weird remedies that actually work.
Yeah.
They've stood the test of time. Whiskey is one of them.
I don't know if I totally agree with that, but we might test it later today if I get bored enough watching these games.
That's fair.
That's
Warm
really
apple
good,
cider
man.
will help.
I'm telling you, I would do it more. I would do this again. I might make this my drink of the day. Honestly.
Yeah. And then again, the beauty with this is like, you know, you got your son coming in the room who probably is like, what are you drinking? You can just give him hot apple cider with whipped cream on top. And then he feels like he's having a really good time, but you just don't throw the Jack in there.
He's had a lot of chocolate this morning. His new thing is chocolate milk. If I give him whipped cream, I'm getting a divorce. Like Megan's gonna kill me. Okay. Because I gave him chocolate milk. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I mean, he just says, Daddy, can I please have chocolate milk? And I just like, yeah, buddy. And she's in the corner looking at me like this. I'm like,
are you the parent that doesn't say no?
Oh, no, I say no a lot. I say no a lot. Just like it, but you know, I don't know. Like sometimes I just say, yeah, buddy, I'll get it for you, not even realize, you know. Oh, and by the way, don't take kids trick-or-treating too long because then all hell breaks loose with candy. I'm just telling.
What kind of kids?
Just like kids in general, like trick-or-treating. Like he went trick-or-treating, dude. We have more. I could supply the entire U.S. Army with the amount of candy we have.
Just roll it over into next year and just give that out as next year's candy.
True.
Problem solved.
True.
Stale candy.
Crazy. You got a big game tonight, Blake. I know you and Joe were talking a little smack beforehand, but I'll say this. The Bears won in an absolute monsoon against the 49ers week 1. And I think in those situations, you got to favor the home team.
Is that what the weather projection is, Blake? Is it going to be them?
Well, no, tonight. And listen, because it's a night game, I think it'll be better. But brother, how y'all don't hear this right now, I have no idea. Like the reason that I have this off is because I'm listening to it. Like it is coming down.
Are you going to just randomly disconnect or something? Is that like,
I hope
is it just
not.
rain or
really,
thunder too?
really hope not. No, you know what happens? This is what happens with Spectrum Internet. Shout out to Spectrum near Rudy Poo. You know, anyway, this is what happens. It can pour outside. Look, a hurricane could come. We won't lose internet. A rabbit farts outside, we'll lose internet for 2 days. Like a rabbit will take a shit outside and we'll lose internet. It is the damnedest thing.
That sounds about right.
Dude,
That's
like the snow, like listen, we're not built for snow, okay? Like when we're just not built for snow. Had a snowstorm, electricity, nothing. Two weeks later, the wind was bad. We lost power for 12 hours. That's how bad it gets here.
By the way, I didn't think of this earlier, and I want to bring this up with this LSU game.
Okay.
How veteran is the special teams unit? And you can't laugh at
veteran. Not
it's
veteran.
not.
No. But see, here's the thing, though. If there's one flaw that Nick Saban has, name a good Nick Saban kicker.
Oh.
Well, I'm less worried about the kicker. I'm more worried about the operation.
Like snap, hold, all that.
Snap, hold, kick, and snap, punt, kick, and on
well,
punt.
They're
and
veteran there. They're just not veteran like kicking wise. They're veteran.
Here's the snapper.
Snapper.
Is he an upperclassman?
Yeah, he's a redshirted sophomore. Like this is his third year snapping. So
any person who's been used to watching this knows that anytime Joe brings up snapper, one must drink. So
well, yes, absolutely. And I'm the one who can't drink. In all seriousness, that's something that if there is going to be a torrential downpour, pay attention to that. One team's special teams unit is going to have an F up, like a seriously detrimental F up. you can't. It's very hard to go perfect both sides if it's pouring, specifically at the college level. Like I played in a monsoon against William and Mary my junior year, I want to say.
It rains in Rhode Island?
Oh, it pours. It rains constantly. Like it'll rain 4 days out of the week, and then it'll rain like up until kickoff, and then we'll play the game because we're near the water, so we get dumped on with rain. But I snapped in a monsoon, and I was fine. The other team's snapper was not. The other team's punter was not. They kept dropping balls. They had a lot of messed up operations, and that helped us win that football game. And it happened against Weber State with that whole thing that was
I saw that. Yeah.
Everyone was talking about it, how it was raining and the Weber State snapper couldn't hold on to the ball, and they lost the game because of 4 safeties. Now, I don't think that's going to happen in this game, but it's just something to pay attention to. Someone's going to mess up if it's pouring come game time. Someone is going to make a really bad mistake.
So you know this, Joe, because you know you're a Notre Dame fan. A lot of people here have been really questioning Brian Polian. I think a lot of that has to do with personnel more than anything. Okay, I don't think Brian Polian's a bad special teams coach. Look, 2 years ago they were top 3 in the league, or all of college football and special teams. But I agree with you, and I do agree with Jenna on this. That's why I said, Joe, I think this game's gonna be a lot closer than people think. Look, man, we were born in it, molded by it, kind of like Bane from Batman. Okay, you just adapted the dark. We were born in it. Okay, and so the bottom line is that, like, this outside, people go duck hunting in this. Like, people go like, this is normal. Like, this isn't anything new. I just think that it, like, you know how like you're built for something, like because like you said in Rhode Island. Okay, well, we do deal with it 4 out of the 7 days a week. More than half of the week we're dealing with it. Well, so do we. Okay, and so that's just where the part where I'm just like, you know what, we'll see. But I think it's going to clear out. One thing that is for sure that nobody's talking about, brother, it is packed there right now. Like,
oh hell yeah,
of course it is. Are you kidding?
Hell yeah.
They are. It is packed. Like, so, Jenna, I told Joe this about a week or two ago. My guilty pleasure is getting in my truck and just go driving around to see how packed the tailgating is. Okay, like I want.
Oh my God, it's got to be the best spectacle on the planet.
Oh, dude, and the thing is everybody here hates Saban because he left us. So like it could be like a hurricane can come through. They're gonna try to kill him. Okay, like they don't like him at all. They're gonna be here and it's gonna be loud. And don't get a couple apple ciders in these Cajuns. Things will go weird.
Maybe that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. Look, if y'all have never – look, one thing that we got to get you to experience, you got to come down to an LSU football game in Death Valley at night.
Let's figure it out.
I'm here for this because I've actually I've never been to an SEC game. Like, ever.
What?
Well, I mean, think about it. Why would I? Like, no offense to all of the SEC fans tuning in and listening, but like, I'm a Midwest girl. Like, I don't go to the South. I've never had a reason to go to the South until now.
Wait, what's the furthest south you've been?
I mean, I lived in Miami.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
it's not really south, though.
It's not south. Like, Miami should not be a part of the United States of America because you need a passport to go down there. But I did. You do. But like, I played in Georgia and Alabama, the Carolinas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been.
I've been, but never for football because when I played volleyball, it was always during the same time, so we never got to see any football games.
Where did you play volleyball?
I played volleyball at Barry University down in Miami for a year. Then I went up to Minnesota. Minnesota. Oh, I developed an accent and then came home and told everyone. I'm like, everyone start talking to me. I need to get rid of this.
Like Chicagoans don't have accents.
No, we do. But when you're around a community for so long, you pick up certain things that they do. And I did lingos. You're like, oh yeah. And I was like, fuck. Sorry, but I did, and I was like, "Oh my God, people! Where are my people?" But I tore my wrist, so I had to hang up my shoes. So I was a setter.
Jenna, you've been through it, boo. Like you mean the bike incident, the wrist incident.
The wrist incident was crazy because all I did was go to dig a ball. I just went to go dig. My hand went back, and I was like, I just said, I don't think that's right. But here's the crazy part: I finished the rest of the game. I finished the rest of the game. I played on pure adrenaline. I served the ball with my dominant hand. It felt like someone took a hammer to my hand. I told the girl, I was like, you need to serve for me. I can't do it. And then they tried. It was my forearm looked like a bowling ball, like a bowling ball pin. It was that swollen.
Like a snake.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it looks like when a snake bites you, but it was not pretty. And then, you'll enjoy this one, Blake. I ended up, it took like 15 doctors to figure out what it was. Cause it's an injury that's not, it happens in catchers and tennis players. I tore my TFCC. So there's a ligament that connects your wrist to your forearm. That's how you can rotate. And that's what tore. So even though the swelling went down afterwards, that's what happened. And when I finally went to the doctor who did it, he pinched it and I went back to Cockham. And then we do the surgery and I woke up during surgery.
Oh my God.
See, Jenna, I have a same experience. They were stapling my knee in my first ACL surgery and I woke up and I grabbed the doctor. Y'all might know who he is. His name is Dr. James Andrews. And I grabbed him and like, I will kill you. Okay. Like, come on, dude. Like, do something else. Put glue on it. Do something. This hurts, you know? Yeah. I never again. That's why, like, when Ben, like, people say, are you going to let Ben play contact football in like a couple years? I'm like, no. Like, let's play some flag. Okay. I'm not putting my 5-year-old through full contact. Helmet. Like, look, this is in our studio. Hold on. This was my old Pee Wee football helmet. Like, look at this. Okay.
That's your old Pee Wee football helmet, Blake?
I look like Rudy. Like, I look like Rudy. Tell me Rudy didn't wear this, Joe.
He probably had even less padding than that, and that already has no padding.
Probably so. Like, look at this.
That could still fit you.
No, it doesn't. I've tried.
So you got a big ass head if that as a child, if that thing was fitting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. No, it doesn't. All right. Jenna, what are we doing today? What you doing today? What you getting into?
Well, I got to work tonight.
So you'll be able to turn on ESPN and watch the LSU game and watch Alabama.
I will 100% be turning on the Alabama LSU game tonight, going absolutely buck wild for all of my LSU fans.
Pooh Bear says Jenna's tougher than Joe. Now, Pooh Bear and them are a new part of the Bleav family. Joe, how are you going to deal with this?
I might have to get on the phone with him after this, and we might need to talk about the extension of his. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you're not wrong, but I also have my fair share of tears that I don't want to get into because, as you can see from me wincing, I did the same thing. I didn't tear it, but I did the same thing. I sprained it, and I just am thinking back to how much that fucking hurt, and like they did the same thing. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to fix it, and I played 3 games with it, and it was just. I don't like injuries. I'm glad that I am removed. I'm so glad that I'm removed from football.
It's a small. Well, and see, this is the thing about athletes. This is a whole different show. Maybe during the off season.
Yeah,
you could do that.
Like I broke my hand, and the doctor's like, "Oh, well, it's not broken." I'm like, "It's broken." Yeah. Put padding around it.
Yeah.
And like I had to snap. Have you ever snapped a football, Joe, with your non-dominant hand?
Ooh. I have not, but I did snap with my hand completely taped up, my non-dominant hand taped up, and that was impossible. The balls were floating back there.
So listen, I put a glove on my left hand and put like what do you call that? Like women use it. It's like the hairspray. Tresemme, ooh la la. And so my nickname for like 3 weeks was ooh la la because like hairspray to stick because I mean
that's so interesting. Yeah.
One of our quarterbacks had hair product in his locker. Probably Joe has some in his Bleav locker.
No comment.
Joe has great hair. Joe has phenomenal hair.
You're the first person to say that.
Bleav locker?
Not my Bleav locker. What kind of hair product are we talking about?
We're talking about he had like the hairspray, like Tresemme, like hairspray. And
I don't do the spray.
Stick. Yeah.
I don't do the spray, but I got plenty of hair gel if that's what you're asking.
Or you can do lidocaine. Is it lidocaine? That's what it is. There's a trick with women where if you spray lidocaine, I think it's lidocaine on your feet before you wear heels, you could wear your heels all night long. I did it for a wedding and didn't take and I had no feet pain, and I'll tell you. You get some serious pain wearing heels all night long.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I had no pain.
I can only imagine. All right, Jenna. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you
will
for
see you
always
next
having me,
week.
guys. Cheers.
Always.
My drink's almost done. This is a good problem.
Mine is too. I'm liking this. I don't like that I like it so much.
No, but you like that you like it.
True. Very true.
You
All
like
right.
it.
We'll see you next week. Thanks,
All right.
Jen.
Bye, guys.
All right. That's Jenna Dudson. Jenna Drinks joins us. Joe, should we take a break here and then just kind of chit chat and then see if Mandy comes aboard?
I think that's a great idea. And again, Mandy, I'm not sure what she's doing. DJ was here. I don't know if we want to admit that or not. He showed up really early and then left. So maybe DJ comes back too. It's been a very weird week for guests, to say the least.
It's been a very weird couple of weeks with guests.
Yeah.
We got to have a production meeting.
It's justified.
All right, let's talk about our good friends over at Gramco, thegramco.com. We return in 45 seconds. Let's talk some more SEC next. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. Joe, when it rains, it pours, literally. We were talking about Texas A&M a minute ago and the flu outbreak, but look, that's different. Did you see that TJ Finley? Did you see this whole TJ Finley thing?
No, what was it?
Apparently, he's not traveling, and there's been some issue with him. I want to ask you this, though, about Auburn. Let me ask a very dumb question. If Cadillac finds a way to win out or they win some games and they beat Alabama, could Cadillac Williams get that job? That's one name that we didn't talk about.
No, I don't think that's a smart decision. I think with the issues that you've held over the past few years, the previous coaching staffs, you want to win national championships. And just as Marcus Freeman doesn't have any head coaching experience, I think it would be a little foolish for a program of that caliber, of that size, of that pedigree to go to a guy like that. And I think that Cadillac could turn into be a really, really good coach. You got to hire somebody that has that experience. Like, you got to hire somebody that you know is going to put your team in a national championship position. And I'm not saying Cadillac can't do that, but there's a lot more uncertainty on him than there would be with a Lane Kiffin, than there would be with the Deion Sanders, with a lot of these other names. Heck, even Dan Mullen, I would take over Cadillac Williams. I hope that is not the case, and that's not what they're willing to do. But heck, he might get himself into an offensive coordinator job or something along those lines.
The speech he gave yesterday is very inspiring, but I agree with you. Look, there is some sourcing. Okay, so look, a part of what AYS has built and become, the thing that we do is we do try to break some news, or we at least try to source some news. I want to give you some sources that I'm hearing out of Alabama and Auburn.
Okay.
I think we were right Wednesday. I think they're going to make Lane Kiffin tell him no. And I don't think it's smoke. I don't think it's Jimmy Sexton. I don't think it's this bamble like, oh, he's trying to get more money, because the truth is he just got a contract extension. Like, at the end of this, he'll make $6.5 to $7 million a year at the end of his contract. And look, let's call it what it is. Lane doesn't need more money. Okay. Like, look, on the USC buyout alone, it's generational wealth.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this again. Excuse me. If Lane Kiffin goes to Auburn, he could be the one to force Saban out. He could be the one.
You think so? You think that?
Yes, I do believe that, because here's the reason why. Lane is the only human being that I know of that is courageous enough, I'll give him this, to go in there and go toe-to-toe with Saban. I don't think that there's a lot of coaches that would take that would, and not only that. Look, Lane recruits himself, right? Like he's going to have a good quarterback, he's going to have good running backs, and he's going to have guys that want to play in his system. He's got to figure out defensively, but
the one thing I will say, and I'll tell you off air, we understand some of the squabbles that go on between these two guys and some of the differences, if you will, between these two guys. And there's one in particular that I totally agree proves, and I can't share it on here, but I will tell you afterwards, that proves he is not afraid of Nick Saban. And that to me, I think is a really good point. Like if there's somebody that's going to come in and really prove that and try and knock off the man who's running that region, running that area, it could be Lane. I also think that Deion fits that as well. We saw his response to Saban's stupid comments during the offseason about NIL and how Travis Hunter was able to get there. I thought the way that he stood up and basically said, Saban, shut the hell up. We're getting kids to come here that want to change the university. I think that both of those guys fit that description, and that's what you need to be looking for. Like Cadillac's not going to do that, obviously, but you need to be looking for somebody who's going to create waves for the program and challenge the man who's been running the SEC and running Alabama.
I think Brian Kelly is the coach you were talking about. That you wanted to wait to say off air because it's your old coach. You don't want to say anything good about Brian Kelly.
Well, no, it's something completely different. I'm gonna tell you off air. It's something I can't share on here. I'll tell you. Just remind me after.
I hear you. All right, we have Mandy night. We have DJ Fluker. We're waiting for Mandy to get her camera on. Do you want to go to DJ Fluker very quickly?
Yeah, let's go to DJ first.
Okay, DJ, can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up backstage if you can hear us. All right, awesome. Let's go to former Alabama offensive lineman, our good buddy, DJ Fluker. DJ, what's happening, man?
Oh, not too much. How you doing?
Doing good. Look, big game today in the Bayou. You've been a part of it. Been a part of some wars out there, LSU and Alabama. What's your thoughts about today, my man?
I think it's gonna be a good game. I mean, I've seen these guys go at it for a long time, and playing in it has been a whole lot different too. So, I mean, LSU is always a tough place to play. Being a defense are crazy. LSU always bring their best game when they play Alabama. So, I mean, I think it's gonna be a great game. I think what it comes down to for them, just about execution for Alabama right now. Just like a lot more execution, being able to run the ball, being more of a better offense. I think that's what they need for this game.
DJ, let me ask you this. You mentioned this. Okay, you've had epic battles against LSU and Alabama, right? You had 2019, you've had 2017 with Alabama and LSU. You had the TJ Yeldon screen when Alabama's down 3, they score touchdown, they go on to win a national title. Is this the pinnacle game in the SEC for the last 10 years, in your opinion? Because covering it, being a part of it, watching it, this has been the pinnacle of the SEC. Being a part of it as a player, did you feel like that too?
I mean, Coach Shaman always tells us, don't ever let the hype get to you. Because as soon as you buy into the hype, you start becoming like everyone else, a fanatic. That's what he says.
Hey, I'm a fanatic. Just call me what I mean. Because, DJ, to really interrupt you, there's so many great players a part of this game, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I mean, you think about it, just when I look at it overall, I mean, it's just another ball game. That's what Coach always tells us: be humble. It's another ball game. Go out here and win. That's what it's all about. It's about us. It's about what we do. Like as a team. Like when I was playing back in Alabama days, it's about us. It's not about the other teams. Not about the media. It's about how we go out there and play on Saturday. Everything we practice for, prepare for, prep for. Coaches coaching us during the week to make us better. That's what it comes down to. Because on Saturday, I mean, it's a ball game. It's just like being at practice. But I'll tell you right now, the game is way easier than practice. I can say that right now.
I know one of my best friends of all time, Brandon Taylor, wore number 18 in that 2011 game. He goes, listen, we were so ready to get to that game because practice was so hell. Les put us through so much. And then hearing you, like it's the same thing. Like you guys are ready to just get to that game because it just meant so much in the SEC West.
Right. Well,
Yeah, what was that week of practice like, though? If you could provide any context, like how does Saban go about getting everybody ready for a game like this?
Oh, well, let me tell you, if team run didn't go well for the defense, we started it over. Then if it didn't go well for the offense, and we weren't really kind of even, we started it over. We'll start a whole period over and do the whole practice all over again from the top. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense. I think it was more of the coaches being more amped up than us. I think we kind of had an idea who was going to win that game. But there's a whole lot of film study. We probably watched more film than anything. And even if you weren't watching film, you would take time when you had a little break to go watch like extra film. But we played pretty well. We had a good solid we could practice during the time. And the game was so much easier. I'm tell you, everything they did, LSU did, we seen it and just picked it up. Everything they did, picked it up.
DJ, let me because Bryce Young is just a different dude, right? Like, I mean, there's been a lot of great quarterbacks at Alabama, and there's no denying that. But Bryce is just a different human being. For me, when I play, and I'm not any close to the level of offensive line that you played, but when I played at Southeastern, like when you had a scrambling quarterback, for me, it kind of always kept you in the game, right? Like always kept you in the play because you know that this guy could just bust one out. When you watch Bryce Young, just how impressive is he when you turn on the film, when you turn on that TV and you watch him play at any given Saturday?
He's a smart quarterback. I mean, he's a great pocket passer, but to see him scramble is unreal.
It's insane.
I mean, he reminds me of like a little younger Russell Wilson. That's what he reminds me of. Just a little more athletic, more athletic. Well, but he does it with a smile. I mean, the guy keeps his composure through the whole game. He might get pressured a little bit, shakes it off, gets back up, next play. Let's go, man. And I kind of like that about him. He has no fear as a quarterback. Most guys would have probably had crapped their pants, probably. But him, I'm just saying. I was just keep it honest. But you have a good offensive line too, so those guys are doing good. But they're young, but they've done a solid job for him this year, and they've grown. I think just watching them, I mean, just watching those guys, they play pretty physical. So I mean, he has great protection, and then he has a great receiving core. But I do think that for this, they need to take a little pressure off him a little bit and feed it and actually run the ball a little bit.
That's kind of been our keys to victory for Alabama. If you're Alabama, I mean, we completely agree. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. In terms of that run game, and like you just hit it on nail on the head. We talked about how important it's going to be for Alabama to establish the run. In your opinion, especially being an offensive lineman at Bama, like how important is it to get the run game going in a matchup like this?
I think that, well, first off, before I get into that, I watched the Ole Miss LSU game. Ole Miss ran that ball all down LSU throat. I watched it and I was just, wow, so these big guys are actually moving them. Now, when it came to that pass, LSU got great pass rushers. They got some good pass rushers. So it's like, for me, when I watched that game and I see how well they played, I was like, well, Alabama got to do something a little different. I mean, passing the ball was great. It was always great. When I was there, the run game is always key for us. We run first, run, pass. That's the way it's always been. But I mean, the newer style, newer players, newer generation of players is always different. So they probably got a lot more athleticism, to be able to do things a lot more different, which is good. But I think they gotta have a solid run game. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, LSU's not a bad team. They beat an undefeated Ole Miss team, and they did it. Alabama had lost one game with Tennessee, but they still had a solid, real good game. Still, it was a high scoring game. And for them as going into this moment, I think they just gotta feed that running back. I mean, he's right there. You feed him. The guy, well, he had one touchdown the other week when he played. It was like from the 15-yard line. So feed that guy. He's a great running back, great back like out of space. They run the outside zone. I seen that. He still kind of caught the plays out when you see it on TV.
That
Right?
37, DJ, that 37-38 outside zone is ridiculous. Like Tyler Steen's the best left tackle in the SEC for Bama. I mean, it's not even like he's a dude, bro. Like, I mean,
oh yeah,
yeah, he's a dude.
Definitely.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this to really interrupt you. I've asked a lot of Alabama. So we've had a lot of being a player. We've had a lot of players on our show.
Okay.
Best Nick Saban story.
Oh man, best Nick Saban story.
If you're allowed to tell.
I want to hear. Look, there's no holds bars on here. Like you can curse, you can say whatever you want. Best Nick Saban story of all time.
Man, best Nick Saban story. I guess it would have to be the Michigan State bowl game we played in Orlando, and
go ahead,
it was right before when Cam. It was like 2010. We played against the Oregon game. We played in the Iron Bowl that game, and Cam Newton. The first time Cam Newton came on the scene, it was like Cam Newton. I was like, okay, Cam Newton, all right. See the guy, we're going up 24. I think it was 24 in the first half, something like that. The first half, and they had 0 points. And I remember Cam Newton coming out in the third, fourth quarter after the halftime game. They just came out and took over. Cam Newton was a one man team, darn near. But I learned a valuable lesson. I think we lost by 2 points. So after we had lost that game, we ended up playing. We went to a bowl game. We ain't ever been. It was my first real bowl game. Not going to the SEC championship. So I was like, all right, cool. So we go there.
That's so.
And
cool.
We play Michigan State. So we beat Michigan State, of course. And then it goes to a point. I think when our guys said, "Oh, we beat Michigan State," we still got a bowl game, And the look on Coach Saban's face was like, "This is what you wanted. This is what we worked hard all year for. This is what you guys wanted. Our bowl. He didn't even want a ring for that bowl game because they give out a ring for that bowl game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even want a ring. He said, "I want a national championship." And I remember that, and I just looked over. I was like, "Wow!" I said, "He's not even satisfied with that." I mean, we won like 10-3. I think yeah. I think it was still kind of solid, but we had a chance to win another championship, and it got took from us. So it made me realize, like, he doesn't care about he didn't care about the little Michigan State game. He said we could have beat them easily, 55-0, literally, but it was about the bigger games that matter, the games we should have won if we had prepared better or played better. And that's what he was talking about. He said those games matter. You want to be the best. You want to be the cream of the crop. And I think I understood it. I got it. And after that, we went 2011, 2012. We went back to back national titles. So I understood the message.
Don't remind me. Yeah, don't remind me. SNL. Don't remind me.
What school did you go to?
I mean, I went to Southeastern Louisiana, but I mean, we cover LSU. I'm an LSU fan, so don't remind me. Don't remind. God. I mean, look, I was in the DJ. I was in the attendance that 2011 season. So both of them. So
y'all got us one time now. Come on now, y'all got us.
You're right. It should have been a split national title.
Yeah, we see y'all. We see you guys in New Orleans, in your own home, in your own backyard. Y'all was trying to get after us, man. We know, Kevin Noah had a great game against Tyrann Matthew. He balled out.
He did.
Now, hey, that's probably one of the best. That's probably one of the best receivers at that time. The way he was going about it,
it was his coming out party.
Oh yeah,
it was Norwood's coming out party. Yeah, and look, I mean, you had Trent Richardson. I mean, DJ, I saw a stat about a month ago about that game. 59 players. 59 players. So if you have 100 players on both sides, okay, right. 59 players of that 2011 national championship game got drafted. It's the most from two teams that have played each other that have been drafted from those two teams. It's the most in college football's history. How nuts is that?
That's crazy. That's definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Did
So
not know,
I
well,
mean,
I can name Brockers was there at the time. Huh? Brockers.
yep, Brockers. Well,
Sam
so
Montgomery.
DJ, to give you an example, the entire defensive line for both teams got drafted. Both linebackers, all the linebackers got drafted. All the DBs got drafted.
Yeah.
Everybody. So the offense was the ones that didn't really, pan. I say pan out, but there was a lot of younger dudes on that, on those teams, right?
You're right.
You got drafted. Like McCarron got drafted. I mean, think about both of those teams. The only player for LSU, believe it or not, that didn't make an NFL roster was LSU's quarterback Jordan Jefferson. That was the only one.
Oh yeah, Jordan Jefferson. Wow, yeah, I didn't think about him.
Yep, the only one. So, hey, it's gonna be a good game. DJ, I wish you all the bad luck today with your
Alabama. Wow, man.
Like,
a little bit. Hold on now.
I wish you all the bad luck. Look, man. I can't take no more. DJ, I can't take no more.
No, just come to the dark side. Okay. Maybe it's time to switch teams.
Man. We can't do that. Joe, you got one as we round this up with DJ?
No, I'm excited to watch this game, and DJ, really appreciate you coming on to join the show. And we're just excited that you're joining the network and you're talking about Bama each week with Olivia Whitmire, who's come on our show before. But just really excited, and I'm sure you're going to be excited for this game.
Oh man, I appreciate the opportunity, man. Y'all have a great one. I'm gonna be watching you guys' podcast. You talk about Alabama. I will be back on here now.
Hey, I picked you guys to win. I said you guys were going to blow out LSU. I'm not on Blake's side.
All right, Blake, watch out, bro. The Force. I told you about the Force. Hey, man, y'all have a good one, man. Hey,
all right, DJ. I wanted to tell you, just don't watch my show Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time if you don't want to hear Bama trash talk. That's all.
Wow.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, DJ. We'll have you back,
DJ.
All right, that's DJ Fluker, former Alabama and NFL offensive lineman. Dude was a stud, man. Dude was a stud.
That was great.
That was great. That really was. Okay, we're still waiting to see Mandy on camera. I don't want to bring her on, and we don't have her.
I shot her a note.
Okay.
Mandy.
Well, Mandy, if you can hear us, we can't see you. So there it is. All right, Joe, as we start wrapping all of this up, man, look, this is the biggest week me and you have ever had. And look, as me and you continue to do this SEC podcast, look, man, I want to end it here. My name is Blake Ruffino, and I love college football. Right? Like, I mean, I'm just in love with what this Saturday brings. I don't know, man. It's just gonna be a really fun day. And last week was fun. A lot of people thought it wouldn't be, but Penn State, Ohio State,
And we've been kind of waiting since that Alabama Tennessee game for like a real premier matchup. We've been kind of getting like tastes here and there of some good games, some good matchups, but like this is the cream of the crop. Outside these two games, it's a pretty light slate overall. But man, I'm glad that this early on, it's only week 10. We've got 4 more weeks of regular season play. That this is going to start really that downhill turn to bigger and bigger games each week.
I got to tell you, because the season's almost over, I'm kind of buying into the playoff expansion. I don't want football to end. No, Joe, we did have a question. We have the text into the show. We don't talk about a lot. So we did have 2 texts today, believe it or not. Are we going to – oh, there she is. Okay. So we'll go to Mandy next. Are we going to be doing this during basketball season? Everybody wants to know.
That's something that we can figure out. We got to talk about during our off-air production conversations. I'm here for it.
They want us. Like, they don't want us to end the show. Now, I'm not ending shit. Just letting you know.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it if we're going to do it.
All right, I'm here for it. All right, let's go to Mandy Night. Mandy Night TV, I think. Mandy, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we got you.
We can hear you.
That is a beautiful thing. Well, I'm not sure if you all saw, but it broke maybe like an hour or so ago. But several of the Texas A&M players, they have a case of the flu, and one of them was Connor Wegman. However, he was just starting last week in place of Haynes King, and Haynes is going to be the one to go today. But I mean, shoot, if you have a sickness or a flu and it runs through a team like that, I mean, phew, like my mama always said, she was a nurse. She said, always get your flu shot. You know what I mean? So it's we could see some guys that could potentially turn into a household name today. There's a freshman walk on number 80, and my other host from Texas A&M Bleav, Reggie McNeil Senior. He said to watch out for number 80, the walk on today. Who's it's always pretty fun to see. The movie Rudy's one of my favorite stories ever. But his name is Hunter Vivaldi, and freshman wide receiver. But so this is an extreme game changer because everything teams do to go into preparation. However, the Canes, the main man, he will be back, but it always throws a monkey wrench in there.
Are they that thin that they're going to walk-ons? Like, is this outbreak like that bad that they have to turn to those guys? Because first of all, we're glad that you're here to talk about the stuff we said at the beginning of the show that we were hoping you'd have the info on this, and it sounds like you do.
Yes. So I wouldn't say that they're quote unquote that thin that they have to go to walk-ons. I think that it's more so that they have such a young group of talent. They were the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. It's just that Jimbo Fisher and their staff, they know what, I mean, truly the next man up mentality. And so, hey, if, the media, we only know what we know. So potentially there could be more people missing than we really know of. But I don't think that they're that thin that they're being forced to go to walk-ons. It's just that this team, they have so much talent. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. If I don't know, after covering A&M, it's been a lot of fun because you get to see a lot of the the interesting stories, a lot of the back end info that people wouldn't really necessarily know about. And another interesting walk-on story. Excuse me, sorry, I woke up with a little bit of a tickling, a scratch in my throat. So I hope
Joe. Yeah, so did Joe.
Oh, really?
And I mean myself too. I mean, I think we're all kind of under the weather.
Yeah. But I wanted to tell you that there's a really neat story. Randy, their kicker, he was also a walk-on. Now, I mean, he's a starter, and it's pretty wild because he went to that LSU game as a kid. I mean, I say as a kid, I guess, maybe in high school. And, but he always wanted to go to A&M. And then he said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I can play football here? I can kick. And literally they were like through their 4th practice through in the spring. And, he comes out, tries out. And I mean, the kid's got a golden toe, makes the team. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm, it totally, with the flu factor, it turns a lot of the preparation stuff, throws it out the window. So it's, I mean, it'll be interesting to say the least.
Mandy, what's the vibe around Jimbo in College Station? There's a lot of people that seem to be getting antsy. I mean, that's the number one question that we get every week. I know me and Joe have talked about it a little bit, but what's the vibe around Jimbo? And I don't think anybody's going to pay that buyout, but I mean, they're not. I mean, just give me the lowdown, because a lot of people keep asking the question, but they just don't know what's the real truth to decipher at this point.
Jimbo. So, I look at everything I cover, objectively. I didn't go to A&M. I don't have any prior dedication. I truly think that Jimbo is a phenomenal coach. I mean, talk about him like he's the quarterback whisperer for a reason. And people have to remember they lost a lot of players. If you look at in the last 2 years and just last year, they lost a ton of players. And right now their record is not pretty, but they have played a lot. At the end of the day, all that matters is it's a win or a loss. Obviously, that's what all that matters. However, you look at their game, and there a lot of their games were very, very close a point margin. I mean, look at the Alabama shoot. They put Alabama on I think everyone's focus on Alabama when they almost beat them. I mean, literally they had the ball in their hands, the final play of the game. They could have won. I mean, unfortunately it was a dart pass right to the goal line, like out of bounds. But people really have to take a step back and look at Jimbo literally brought in the number 1 recruiting class in the country. And also there's that old saying, Rome was not built in a day. And for people that are not able to see Jimbo, and I apologize, to see, Jimbo, see him at the press conferences, he truly is a great coach. I played softball in college. I've been an athlete my whole life. And so I really do appreciate him as a coach. And I don't know if you all have seen, it's Texas A&M, their student body has this documentary series that they do on the team, how Jimbo talks to the team in his pregame, in the pregame, and then even at the half. I mean, literally, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I mean, if I could put myself in if I was in college and then I obviously women is not a thing playing football, but what he says to his players, I mean, to knock out any of the nerves. It showed, one of his pregame speech, 2 games ago. And he was saying, he's like, hey, just you were born, you're doing something that you dreamed to do your whole life. Go out there and just have fun. And he tells them, he repeats himself saying to relax, have fun, don't think about it. When you think about something, don't think about it when you're trying to make a play. It's like driving a car. When you think about it, you see a car pull in front of you. If you think about it, boom, it's too late. You get in an accident. It's the same thing on the football field. Everything has to be second nature. And so I think he's a really good coach, and he can have his guys, I guess, calm down and have them be able to perform. And so, yeah, I don't think that people should be worried about Jimbo Fisher. I truly think that next year we are going to see an insane amount of dubs racking up. And I would not be surprised. I mean, if in the next 4 years here that he will, he'll go to the college football playoff. Oh, and who's that little buddy?
This my son Ben. Yeah, he if we go over an hour and a half, he starts banging on the door. So if y'all didn't hear the banging on the door, I mean, he was like, Daddy! I was like, oh my God. So that's why. But it's good. We'll end it with you. You want to stay with us? All right. Awesome. Joe, go ahead.
No, Manny, I appreciate you giving us the context on Jimbo, because it's just been such a downhill season. Everything just seems to keep getting worse and worse. But it sounds like for the most part, people aren't necessarily super out on Jimbo. Maybe the boosters are the ones that are calling for his head, but is that kind of where it sits, where everyone wants to give him just a little bit more time because of the recruiting efforts he's had?
You're 100% on the money, Joe. I think that is absolutely the case. I mean, especially you look at NIL, and NIL rules the world now, and boosters, they're the ones they're giving the money. And obviously, I mean, they brought in that number 1 recruiting class because, for a reason. I mean, if you think about it, this pool of kids going to college that are true freshmen this year, they literally could have gone anywhere that they wanted. And it's interesting now because now truly, it's going to be the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. But on the flip side of that, I think it's going to be a level playing field in the SEC. We know obviously Alabama, they've been the top dogs forever. And I'm not saying that Alabama did anything before NIL, but I'm just saying that other schools now can bring players just like that. But I mean, they can pay them, and that's truly such a huge thing. And but I think that truly the boosters, yes, they might be the ones that could be a little bit antsy, but trust me, Jimbo Fisher is a phenomenal coach. I mean, there is a reason why all of those recruits decided to go to Texas A&M, and the culture there. And so I don't think that people should be calling for Jimbo's head. I really think that they're taking their lumps this season. And as I said earlier, it's not like they have lost every single game 60-0. You know, they've been close. And then literally they went down to the wire toe-to-toe with Alabama, and then Tennessee beat Alabama next week. So I truly think that people just need to take a deep breath. Rome was not built in a day. Relax. Things, you know, let Jimbo stay there. Trust me, you want that man to stay at A&M.
All right, last one for you, Mandy, as we wrap up the show. Score prediction, Florida, A&M. I know that it's a really crazy way to end it, but I mean, what do we do? I mean, we ask every guest, what's your score prediction?
So the fact that some Aggies will be out with the flu. Okay, I'm going to say I'm going to say 24-17 Florida. I'm sorry. I would have, you know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say A&M. I was fully prepared for the A&M pick.
Me too. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Now it's I want A&M to do well, but anytime that, I mean, you find out on game day people are sick, and I mean it's a true thing. Sickness, it happens. And so I'm hoping the Aggies win because, hey, it's always more fun to cover a team that is winning, you know, and A&M has such a phenomenal tradition there. It's, I love watching all their guys at the next level, especially Myles Garrett. Shoot, I'm from Maryland. And so I grew up watching, you know, the Ravens and the Browns and everything. But it's A&M, they have a great football culture. And but hey, it's been real fun jumping on here. Let me know next time you guys want to hit me up, and I'm down.
Of course.
Absolutely,
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Hey, happy Saturday.
Happy
college football Saturday.
Say bye, Mandy.
Bye.
Say bye, Mandy.
Thanks, Mandy.
No problem. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, that's Mandy. Mandy Knight joining us. All right, Joe, you want to go ahead and wrap this thing up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get some bagels. I'm gonna plop my ass down on the couch, and then I'm not gonna. What do you give me that look for? What else would I eat for breakfast? I don't have time to go make myself eggs. I don't have time to go get like a real breakfast. I gotta grab my bagel and sit down. That's what's gonna happen in the next 15 minutes.
What do you think Mr. Joe should eat for breakfast as we end this out? What do you think he should eat?
I was gonna say pancakes.
Cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
I would love a cupcake right now, but that might take me out for the rest of the day.
He said he would take him out for the rest of the day. Is there anything else he should eat for breakfast?
Toast.
Toast. Okay.
Sounds like very nutritious breakfast.
Very nutritious breakfast. Cupcakes and toast. All right, guys. We'll see y'all soon. We'll see y'all next week. Let's go have some fun, Joe. Till then, we're going. See ya.